Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your latest instalment of the Gersnet Weekly Podcast, the independent Rangers podcast made for fans by fans. And as always, all of our content is absolutely free. You can get us over at gersnet.co.uk, where you can see a wonderful forum, some great articles, and a wonderful archive history. You can also get us on Twitter at Gersnet Online. We're live on YouTube this evening, guys. If you could please like and subscribe to the channel, that would be great. Just before I introduce my guest for this evening, I need to give a shout out to our sponsors over at Forrest Precision Engineering. They are a subcontract Glasgow-based engineering company. They've been a big commercial supporter of Rangers for many years, and we're absolutely delighted they're back in our pod. You can get them over at forrestprecisioneng.com, and you can also visit the Forrest Precision Executive Lounge, a lovely new hospitality area within the historic main stand. For information on how to book this unique and intimate space, you can email the club via hospitality@rangers.co.uk. Absolutely delighted that I'm joined tonight by one Mr. Scott Bradley. Scotty boy, how are we doing?
I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. A lot has changed since you and I have been on the pod together, and it's been quite interesting. But how was Craigie boy tonight?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Well, when you say a lot change, you mean we've got another manager, because that seems to happen every 6 months at this rate. So,
Aye, I know a lot's happened, of course, but I am looking forward to getting into a lot of stuff tonight, mate.
absolutely. Well, we need to talk about the executives before we speak about managers. Scott, I'm sure you've seen the story a few nights ago about the SPFL looking to make this new 10-team league, just like it was in the good old days. I mean, just to ask you outright, mate, what's your thoughts on that? A 10-team league, obviously, I assume 9 teams play each other 4 times, 36 games, 2 games less than what we are currently at just now. What's your thoughts on that, mate?
I think it's ridiculous. That's the general consensus from pretty much every Scottish football fan, even the managers as well. No one's for it whatsoever. But it doesn't shock me that the SFA want to do something like this, because if I'm being brutally honest, we've got clowns in charge of our football in Scotland, and it's laughable. In terms of like what I would want to see happen, I think what everyone wants to see is the league to be expanded. Obviously, a lot of people have been touting this proposal about a 14-team league, like the Greek model, where there'll be like 2 automatic relegations, then there'll be a relegation playoff, and then you'll still get your 4 Old Firm games a season, right? We can't get away from that. Like, we all know Rangers and Celtic play each other way too much. I remember years ago, Rangers and Celtic played each other 7 times in one season. That was just outrageous. And last season, I think it was about 5. This season, it's 5 as well. It's going to be 5. So I would like to see obviously the league get expanded, because right now the 12-team format it's still in. Like, I just hate the fact that you need to play teams 3-4 times a season. It's monotonous. It's tedious. But yeah, I would like to go down the pathway of the Greek model, because something has to happen. Because, as I said, we can't get away from the fact that the TV companies, they want, like Sky, they want the 4 Old Firm games. They do, and obviously the Old Firm, those games that's the face of Scottish football. That's what brings in the money, and they're not going to accept 2 Old Firm games a season. It's just not going to happen, sadly. But I'd like to know your thoughts on it as well, because as I said, I'd like to go with the 14 team format and follow what the Greece are doing.
Well, the thing is, right, I understand why. When I say why they're doing it, let's face it, this has probably came from Rangers and Celtic, because the first explanation in the SPFL's manual was it's to help the clubs with the increase in European fixtures. So straight away, it's obviously to help Rangers and Celtic. Now, I can kind of understand that. Now, look, we've had this week basically a week off from, Rangers football. It's actually been all right. I know we all love the hustle and bustle, like, Thursday, Sunday, and we'll get to that next week, but sometimes it's nice just to have a bit of a break. And nowadays in football, players are playing far too much football. Even international breaks now, there's no international friendlies anymore. Even the international games are competitive with the Nations League. Like the Scotland-Greece games a week or so ago, I mean, right, those are competitive games, but I mean, really, does anybody care about them? Not really, but they're competitive games because that is the way that UEFA and FIFA are going. So I can kind of half understand why the SPFL have went, right, we need to reduce the number of games, even though, let's be honest, a 10-team league is boring, playing against 9 teams, home and away 4 times a season. You say you want to get away for 4 games a season. I want to get away for 4 games a season against certain teams, but I'm very happy to have the 4 Old Firm games a season. And I think most Rangers and Celtic fans would be happy with that. I actually don't mind playing Celtic, Hearts, Hibs, Aberdeen 4 times a season because, look, they're special games. Might be a bit tedious sometimes, but even tomorrow we're playing Hibs. You're a wee bit up for it, even though it's a meaningless game. Let's face it, it's a meaningless game, but you're a wee bit up for it just because it's Hibs. Take away the 4 Old Firm games a season. I'm not just speaking from a television point of view, but from a fan point of view. I've only known the 4 Old Firm games a season. I'd be a bit gutted if they took that away. What I would like, it's either the 14 or the 16 game model, very similar to the Belgian model, except you don't have the points after the split. I think 14 teams, you play each other home and away twice, you split into a top 7, a bottom 7, you play whatever your section is twice. So that keeps the 4 Old Firm games, and it keeps basically 4 games a season against teams that are, relatively decent. I think the only ones that might have an issue with that are your ones like your St Johnsons, etc., etc. And it's no surprise that St Johnson Sherman coming out making a statement. Of course, you would win your teams in that position. Well, of course you would when your team's in that position. You don't want them to get relegated. So, it's all self-love here in Scotland, isn't it? We don't think of the bigger picture. Personally, but I would like to see a 14-team league split into the top 7 and the bottom 7. But at the same time, I kind of realise, look at this year with us in Europe. We're playing 8 group games. Next season, we've got 3 qualifiers to get into the Champions League. And whether we get into the Champions League or the Europa League, we're going to need to play another 8 games. So we need to be honest at the same time and say, as football players, we're playing far too many games. I understand the need to bring it down. I mean, I was really against the 10-team league at the start, but it actually kind of makes a bit of sense, to be honest, from a big club perspective, as I'm coming from, obviously.
Yeah, I do get your point there, but I just don't understand the SFA's thinking with it, because I don't see it going through as well. I think it won't go through too much. It won't.
It's almost as if they needed a story to distract from something else that was happening that day.
I know what you're on about. Because that kind of got swept under the carpet very quickly, didn't it?
Yep. No further comment.
But yeah, obviously there needs to be change, though, Craig. There has to be change, because that's the thing as well. See, having to play teams like Kilmarnock 4 times a season, going to Rugby Park twice. I can't go it. I really can't go it, Craig. Actually, I was speaking to my pal the other day, and he was like, "What about a 20-team league?" I'm like, "Oh." That works down south. But you imagine that in Scottish football? Jesus, it'll be a car crash, mate. A total car crash.
I want to know who your pals are with for coming up with suggestions like that. Jesus.
I'm not going to say his name.
No, good. Let's save him the embarrassment. But to be honest, I mean, 10-team league, it's what it always was. Like, before we were born, it was always you play each team 4 times a season. And I know, look, we want to talk about the betterment of Scottish football and all that. At the end of the day, I'm only concerned about Rangers, right? We play far too many games as it is. I think we're going to go into a stage with football the way that UEFA are expanding the Euro competitions. I think we might need to scrap the League Cup. And I don't want to do that. So if this is the only way to maybe save the League Cup because you're playing less games, because, the League Cup, you're 3 weekends into a calendar. That's a lot of games that you need to revert and postpone, etc., etc. I think we're playing too much football, and I'm the first person to slag football players. Who do they think they are? They're getting paid tens of thousands of pounds plus a week, but I mean, they are humans. They can only bloody go so much. There's too many games in the calendar as there is. To be honest, mate, I think looking at reducing those games, I'd be up for it. And look, 10-team league, it might not be the worst thing in the world. As I say, it was what it was before, back when we used to win trophies. So you never know. It might come to fruition again.
Yeah, but you made a good point though about the obviously football's playing too many games, and as you said, like they get paid thousands a week, right? But they are playing too many, and if anything, see them playing too many games, it's affecting the quality of the product as well.
I
And
agree with
see,
that.
because of,
And
yeah,
this
yeah,
whole five subs as well. It's like I know they've clearly brought the five subs in because instead of having 11 players on 30 grand a week in Scotland, you've got 20 players on 30 grand a week. So you've got 7 or 8 subs to try and please and get some game time. But
mhm.
I just think it takes away from the game, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, and obviously as well, there's so much football nowadays, like so much football where it's like there's so many bad games as well. Just look how obviously talking about English football, like look how bad their season's been. Like obviously the league title's wrapped up, relegation's done, like race for top four. Who gives a bollocks about that? If I'm being totally honest. But yeah, like there's just so much football where it's like I don't know about you, but football isn't the same as it was like 10, 15 years ago. And I think that's a lot to do with obviously this is probably going a bit off topic, but it's a lot to do with just there's too much money involved with the game as well. And we've got this Club World Cup coming up in the summer, and no one cares about that. Like no one's going to be taking that seriously. But obviously, I think a few clubs might because obviously they can win 100 million quid. But yeah, I do get your point. No, but it's just there's way too much football nowadays. But like with a 10-team league, I know like obviously I was quite surprised that obviously you're for it, but I can see why you would be. But as we all know, as I said, it will not go through because there'll be too much too much backlash towards it.
Well, yeah, as I say, I'm not for it. I like the 14-team one with the top seven, the bottom seven. But all I'm saying is, I understand the need for less games. And all I'm saying is, if it's either a 10-team league or scrapping the League Cup, I take a 10-team league every day of the week because you shouldn't scrap the League Cup. It's part of Scottish, British football culture. No, not for me. Can I get rid of trophies? And I think,
Yeah.
to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that in England, mate, the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's bound to happen, yeah. Because that's the thing, though. See, when people say the League Cup's a Mickey Mouse Cup, like you only say that when when you don't
Then you
win it.
lose it.
Like, that's
No,
it. Yeah, the League
I
Cup's
know.
got great history, and obviously Rangers have had some great memories in that competition. But yeah, no, I would definitely not want to see that trophy get scrapped whatsoever.
No, absolutely not. And I mean, let's be honest, that's the extra games that are coming to. Um, More news in this week for Rangers. I'm sure you get the email coming through, Scott, about your season ticket renewal.
I did indeed,
A
yes.
lovely price hike, as they do.
Right.
Inflation's 4.2%, I think. Renewals have went up by 5%. Wonder what's going to happen to that 0.8% difference. But they've went up. What's your opinion on that?
I'm not surprised. Are the fans getting shafted? Yes. But like as I said, I'm not shocked by it. Obviously, we all know how Rangers' financial situation isn't ideal at this moment in time.
Well,
But
now,
yeah, of course I know. So yeah, it just kind of shows you like how badly the club has been mismanaged over the years, where they need to do this. And obviously, us as like season ticket holders, we've not got our money's worth really when you think about it. I've been a season ticket holder
no,
for
no
15
chance.
years, and I've only seen Rangers win, I think, about 5 trophies or something, and that was like 2 league titles, a couple league cups, one Scottish Cup, so, and I think that was it really. But yeah, it's like we've not been rewarded as fans, and it's yeah, I'm not surprised by it, but obviously the fact that I would say the mood amongst the support. I don't know if you agree with me with this over the last few weeks, it's been really good. The fans are, I think, obviously a point in Ferguson, and Ferguson's proved a lot of people wrong, which we'll come to. And obviously with the ownership happening, it's like yeah, obviously fans are going to renew. They're not. I don't see a big drop in renewals this season. So 5%, yes, it is annoying, and I'm not surprised by it. Like, but it is what it is. But yeah, because obviously my season ticket costs about 800 odd quid because I sit in the club deck, so obviously it's a fortune I've been spending, mate, over the last few years or so, man. But yeah, it is disappointing, but it's just as soon as this takeover happens, the better, mate, because it can't come quick enough. And you and I spoke about this as well. See, obviously when you look at the current board, like once it happens, none of them will be there. Like I think Stuart's just there to get. Obviously, he'll be there, get the takeover done, and then he'll be out. It'll just be a whole clean slate, and that's what will need to happen because it's really frustrating the fact that we won 55, made the Europa League final, and that was the perfect time to kick on. And the board were just way too complacent, and then we find ourselves in this situation. But like when you look at the board, I don't think they're dishonest people. Far from it. I just think they're very incompetent. I just don't think they're good at their jobs. I think they want what's best for Rangers. They're not charlatans or anything, far from it, but they're just not very good at their jobs. So, yeah, it is annoying the fact that obviously the prices have increased, but yeah, as I said, not surprised.
I think I made a good point there about the board in total. You know, I don't think many people think they're charlatans or that, but just because you're a good guy doesn't mean you're going to be good at the job, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
You know, people know my opinion on these people for a long time. I don't want to bore people again, but a 5% increase, Scott, you need to remember, mate, we're going on the assumption that this takeover happens.
If it doesn't,
no. I don't want to for all the, you know, the people from the other side of the site that might be here, but it's not happened yet, right? So we can only deal with the facts in the here and now. Forget that in the background, okay? If you got that email the other day without all the white noise in the background about, you know, the 49ers, blah, 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 what do you think the move would be like?
Oh, it would be toxic. Rangers Twitter would be be going off their nut. But see, yeah, like that's a good point. Yeah, like the fact that it's not happened yet. It's not happened, and see just the way Rangers are in the twists and turns following this football club. It would not shock me, by the way, if it actually doesn't happen. It would be a disaster, Craig, if it wasn't to happen. But yeah, so obviously they've sent the renewals out, and obviously that price increase. The fans are obviously. I've seen a few fans complain, but
it's 5% for some people. I've seen some it's about 6 or 7%. So I don't understand how they've came to the conclusion that for some seats you'll get a certain percentage increase, but for others you'll get a bigger one. I don't understand how they've came to that conclusion.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like it, to be quite honest. It really bugs me. It really bugs me because, as you say, we are the most loyal fan base on the planet. I don't care what anybody says. We are the most loyal fan base on the planet. This game tomorrow against Hibs, it means nothing in the grand scheme of things. You can't buy a ticket together with somebody for that, right? You can go on, you can buy single tickets, blah, blah, blah. If you want to go to the game tomorrow with your son or, you know, your pal or your wife or whatever, you can't get tickets next to each other. And this is for a meaningless game that, you know, we've still got about 7 or 8 league games to go. The league is finished and you still can't buy a ticket at Ibrox beside whoever you want to go with. That shows you the loyalty of these supporters as far as I'm concerned. And at the end of the day, we're all going to renew. I mean, you know, I had my bloody ticket in my basket last night renewing it. Oh, I need to renew, you know. Season ticket, aye, CCCS, yes. Friendlies, yes. Whether they're going to announce a friendly against this season, but that's the thing. I mean, this does need to go through because, I mean...
it can't continue, mate. It can't continue, obviously, under this current regime. And also, as well, this is what another thing people seem to forget. Like, see, even, like, obviously, you pay for my shares as well. So that's your season ticket and my shares. So it's just... Yeah, like, see the thing is, see if we were doing really well, Craig, the fans would be like, oh, that's a bit much. But, oh, yeah, okay, I'll still pay for it because we're doing well, I get it. But we've been terrible for a long, long time. So, yeah, like, I can see why they're doing it, because Rangers' financial situation is not great right now. But, yeah, it's just the fans getting shattered again, Craig. And as you said, we're all going to renew. Like, I'm always going to renew no matter what, because I've got a cracking seat in the club deck, and if I was to give that up, I'll never get it back. And obviously, we even know how bad Rangers are just now. like the waiting list to get scene tickets is massive. It's massive. So it's like if you're a scene ticket holder, if you want to give it up, then good luck trying to get a good seat again. Or you'll be waiting a long time.
No, I know, and that's true. And also, I hate this whole because you will get people that say, well, if you don't want to go, just don't pay for it. It's no simple as that. Like buying a season ticket for Rangers isn't as simple as not renewing your Netflix subscription. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
it's a way of life. I've had my season ticket bar one season for the last 25 years, right? Basically since the turn of the millennium. You can't gear that up, but the thing is, these people at the top know that. They know that you can't gear that up, and they're no stupid, are they?
I know, and yeah, that's the thing, right? As you said, I'm not even just saying it because I'm a Rangers man. Like you make a great point about Rangers fans are the most loyal fans in the world because look what Rangers went through over the last 15 odd years, like going down to the third division, the lower leagues, all the crap with that administration, get demoted, all of it. It was so tough, but Rangers fans turned out every single week, and what other club would do that? And I actually spoke to some of my Celtic pals about this. I was like, see, if you went down, would Jews turn out like that? And most of them are on, so no, probably not. No. They probably would have completely just chucked Celtic. And when you look at, not going a tangent to Celtic, but look at the attendances at Parkhead. Even when Celtic were doing well, or also doing well in the league, the attendances are rubbish. Even Rodgers this season's had a go at the fans. Yeah, but when you look at us as well, no matter what, we're loyal as anything, and it's almost like we're too loyal at times, Craig. Too loyal at times, and the board certainly take that for granted.
Well, you can say that. Let's just hope the next board that come in don't do that. But Scott, we've got a game to talk about tomorrow, believe it or not, against Hibs. Normally one of the bigger games of the season. I do love playing Hibs, to be honest, because normally we beat them, but it is weird going into these next couple of months of the season because, let's be honest, mate, the game means nothing in the grand scheme of things, right? You've got a massive game a week past Thursday coming up at Ibrox against Bilbao. I know Barry, I know he will play the strongest team possible tomorrow because it's Barry. He wants to win every single game.
That's it.
But do you think we should maybe be looking towards Thursday? I mean, next Thursday, Suter, Diamandi are both suspended. So, I mean, they'll definitely both start tomorrow. But do you think maybe we should look at systems? Because the one thing that does worry me about next Thursday is Diamandi missing. And I've been a big critic of him for domestic games. But in Europe, he's been cracking. To be fair, he was cracking at Celtic Park a couple of weeks ago as well, especially with that celebration. But
aye,
absolutely. But I think your standard domestic games, it can be a wee bit lacking sometimes. However, when you look at him, he is kind of the only guy that can do his job. So tomorrow, do you go with him just because, well, he said he's available, or do you look at playing a certain system to go ahead to Thursday and give that a wee bit of practice tomorrow? What do you do?
Obviously, I've had some questions about Barry's system, right? But he's going to stick to his guns, and obviously, we've got the game against Bilbao coming up. I would just keep it the way it is. I don't think there's much point in twinkering and changing a whole lot. I would like to see Danilo start tomorrow. Obviously, Danilo's not had a great deal of game time.
Under Barry, has he?
He's not had a great deal of game time under Barry, and
I think he's t-shirt on as well.
Brilliant. I would like to see Danilo get a shot tomorrow, and I think Danilo's got a bit of a chip in his shoulder. I think he's got a real point to prove, and I loved his reaction when in the Fenerbahce game where he was meant to come on. Then Barry was like, "No, I'm keeping Czerny on it," and then obviously punched the seat in the dugout, and I like that though.
Yeah, that's only because he was going a bonus for getting on.
But I love that though, and I would like to see him get a wee chance tomorrow. I would give Czerny a shot as well, but I wouldn't play in the full game because obviously Czerny is injured for Dundee. But I would like to obviously just give him some minutes. So he's obviously like Matt Sharpness is up for Thursday. But in terms of tomorrow, as you said, it's a meaningless game in a way, of course, in terms of the league. But I still think it's an important game. I said this to Frankie off air, where see that result against Dundee last week. I thought it was massive, massive in terms of boosting the morale even more because, obviously Rangers knocked out Fenerbahce, beat Celtic, And obviously a last-minute winner against Dundee, a last-minute winner will just elevate the mood of like any team, and you can tell that the players are happy playing under Ferguson. Obviously, Ferguson spoke about how low the morale was when he first came in, and players are playing for him, and the mentality is different. Where obviously it's a big if, right? But if we were obviously that game against Dundee, if we were obviously under Clement and we were 2-0 down, do I see us getting back into that? No, I don't. I personally don't. And that's one thing I'll give Barry a lot of credit for, is the fact that he knows how to motivate teams. The fact Rangers have been 2-0 down, I think, under Barry about 3 times or something since he's came in. But obviously the only game he's lost was Motherwell, but of course Fenerbahce, but Rangers went through. But yeah, like the whole thing under Ferguson, it feels fresh. And obviously I'll touch on this just now. Like there's been a lot of conversation about Ferguson getting the job on a permanent basis. I think we need to settle down a bit. I think a lot of people are getting too excited. Ferguson's proved me wrong. I was one of the most vocal critics about his appointment to the end of the season. I was like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we appointing Ferguson? Like, he's a failed lower league manager. It's true. But my God, he's doing really well. Like, put it this way, in terms of him getting the job on a permanent basis, he's done himself no harm whatsoever. But personally, I would only give him the job if Rangers make the Europa League final. It sounds maybe a bit harsh on me, but
why not? Why just the final? Well, if you make the final, you don't win it. What's the point in getting to the final?
Like that's like, see if he was to win the Europa League, I would just retire after that. He's got nothing else to prove. Like,
well, that's so would I, to be fair, but
yeah, exactly. But I just want to touch on this as well. Like, 'cause remember when Man United appointed Solskjaer and they had this honeymoon phase where they knocked out PSG and they were doing really well. Then United jumped the gun, gave him a 3-4 year deal, and obviously it didn't work out. I don't want us doing that with Barry. We were getting a bit too excited because after we beat Fenerbahce, beat Celtic.
To be fair, if you look at the Man U managers beyond Solskjaer, I don't think he was the worst one, to be fair. So
no, he's not the worst, but it didn't work out. And like obviously a lot of fans.
That's what I don't want us doing either. I don't want us, sacking
rushing it,
Solskjaer and bringing in flipping, Ten Hag, Amaron, etc., etc. I don't want us to do that. Personally, I think the best way to deal with a manager situation, review it at the end of the season. Barry's taking it game by game, which is, by the way, in my opinion, the way that you should take every game at a major football club. It's game by game. Now, I said in a wee sort of notes earlier, do you look at tomorrow's game and think about Thursday? Well, no, you don't. You look at tomorrow's game in isolation, because at Rangers, every single game is a cup final. And we can all sit here and say tomorrow's a meaningless game. And okay, it is in terms of what happens at the end of the season. But that guy's wanting the job. Let's say he wants the job at the end of the season, right? He needs to win every single game. So he's going to pick the team that he believes is going to get him a result, much like most managers are. And that's one thing. Like, if you're a manager, if you're looking too far ahead into the future, that's normally when, it comes crashing down on you.
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah. And, like, that's the thing, where Rangers can't rush this, Craig. We cannot rush this, because this is going to be our biggest appointment in years. And we need to get it right. We really do need to get it right. And Ferguson has impressed me. But obviously, as I was just saying about the excitement after the Fenerbahce and Celtic result, like certain people going over and talk like, give him the job. Like, no, like, settle down, let's review it at the end of the season and let's see what happens. But I'll say this as well, by the way. See, the guy that Barry Ferguson knocked out in the Europa League, he's not doing all that well in Turkey right now. Just got knocked out the Turkish Cup. Looks like they're going to lose the league. Obviously, Rangers knocked them out in the Europa League. Jose Mourinho at Rangers at the end of the season, Craig? Because I don't see him being at Fenerbahce next season. And with the ownership happening as well, if it does, I think Mourinho could be tempted, because see the way he was at Ibrox the other week, I think he fell in love with that atmosphere. And Mourinho's usually a very sore loser, right? We all know this. He was praising the atmosphere, he was praising Rangers, and he went into the dressing room after the game. Very unlike Mourinho to do that. And he was showing respect. Usually Mourinho's saying all sorts, blaming this and that. He was Like, he's probably the most humble I've ever seen him. So, Mourinho, do you think that could possibly happen?
To be honest, mate, I think if this takeover happens, anything's a possibility. But as much as I love Jose and as a Chelsea fan, he's one of my favourite managers of all time. Can you have him take the job over Barry? No, no. I love him, but I don't love him that much. No, no. I think Mourinho was just going into the dressing room to shake Barry's hand a wee bit. I mean, you seen Bailey Rice try to put the Rangers jersey on him, didn't you?
Oh, that was bold, aye. So that was bold as anything. Aye, but no, I think someone like Mourinho would be box office, and
I think Scott. I think what we need, we need a winner. We need a winner. I think for too long at Rangers we have focused on experimental appointments. Oh, they've got a good style of play. They come from this league. They do this, they do that. They go blah blah blah. See at Ibrox, you need a winner in charge.
Yeah, that's it.
Whether you're a winner as a player, look at Gerrard. Whether he's a winner as a manager, regardless, we need a winner. We need someone to come in. If you're a Rangers manager, I think we take things too seriously in this league. Your 4 games are your 4 cup finals against Celtic. You should not need to be a tactical genius to beat, the other teams in the league, with the greatest of respect to them. Your 4 cup finals are against Celtic. And let's be honest, the games in Europe are a bonus, okay? Rangers fans don't care about Europe unless we win the Europa League, right? But Europe is a nice thing to have. We crave domestic success. We crave being better than them. That's what it matters at this club. So, in my opinion, mate, we're looking at a manager. And by the way, I think Mourinho would be a class appointment, right? But we just need a winner. We need a winner. Because for me, it's about mentality. The thing that has set us apart from Celtic, unfortunately, the last 2 or 3 years has been mentality. Because if I look at the 2 squads the last 2 or 3 years, in terms of individual playing abilities, I really don't think there's much between them. I think it's a coin toss. It's up there. It's on the head. We just need a winner to come in and own that. And, Barry's done well so far. Hopefully he can take us a wee bit further, but, see what happens at the end of the season.
But see, obviously, when you're talking about a winner, you and I are in both agreement about this. Steven Gerrard. Obviously, that he's a guy that divides opinion because of the way he left. But I would take him back in a heartbeat. He knows how to beat Celtic. He's got a great record against them. I think he's got 8 wins. He's only lost about 3 or 4 Old Firm games. And his last one, the last Old Firm that he lost was in the cup final, which Rangers should have won, where Celtic got that dodgy offside goal and Rangers battered them for 90 minutes. Steven Gerrard will take him back in a heartbeat. I think he'll come back if he gets some assurances in terms of finance, because I can see why he left, because obviously he wasn't backed. He wanted to take Rangers to another level after winning 55, but the board were complacent and they didn't want to do that. But Gerrard for me, that's who I would like. Gerrard and Mourinho, that's my top 2, mate. I would take either one. I don't want us to get someone as an experiment, as you said, like getting an experiment, a project manager. No, none of this garbage. We've had too many bloody projects over the last 10 years. I'm sick of it. Like, I just want to get someone to come in and let's go for the title next season. None of this, let's rebuild, progress, and close the gap in Celtic. None of that crap. And I'm sick of it. Like, when Gerrard came in 7 years ago, that's where Rangers fans are like, okay, the last 2 or 3 seasons it's been a total mess. Gerrard, he's a rookie manager, right? We'll give him time. We're probably not going to win the league in his first season, but give him time, right? And that's what Rangers fans, probably the first time in a long, long time where we had patience and we're like, okay, right, we can maybe let it slide the fact we're not going to win the league this season. But he's building something. In that season, under Gerrard, his first one, we've seen the signs. We were like, okay, we're making improvements, right? And then the following season, COVID happened. And then his third season, we won the league. So, yeah, it's no more projects, Craig. I'm sick of it. We need to get someone in that's a winner that gets Rangers, has that winning mentality and understands the football club. And I think, obviously, with Barry coming into the end of the season, he gets that. I think he's perfect until the end of the season. But you never know. If he somehow managed to get past Bilbao, then he makes the final. And if Rangers win it, or even just makes the final, for me, you would need to give him the job at that point, in my opinion.
Well, I can't disagree with you in terms of Mourinho or Gerrard. I love both of them, but There's no Barry Ferguson. That's all I'm saying. But I would take them as a consolation prize. But Scotty, mate, excuse me, I think that's a good point to wrap up on. Just a wee shout out, guys. It was a birthday today. A birthday for the Gersnet Podcast. We're 7 years old today. Fantastic. I mean, Christ, what a 7 years it's been. It's been a lot of moments, a lot of good moments, a lot of bad moments. Personal favourite one was watching Colin and Alec after the Leipzig game outside Ibrox, singing the Glasgow Rangers do song. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. But it's been brilliant to be a part of it. Happy birthday to this podcast. We'll be back on Sunday, guys, with John, Colin, and Ross, three of the absolute stalwarts of this podcast, and they'll be giving you all the updates after the Hibs game and previewing a massive game in Europe next Thursday against Bilbao at Ibrox. All that's left of me to do tonight now is thank my guest for joining me. Scott, thanks for joining me, mate.
It's a pleasure, mate. And no, quickly before we go, see, my personal favourite was obviously the video with you and I pitchside with Boydie. Iconic. Boydie! It's happening.
That was funny, to be fair. And also I missed Neil Warnock in the dugout for Aberdeen, or was it the Rangers?
That was the night with Boydie.
I'm sure he was in one dugout, wishing he was in another one, but he was a funny guy. But we'll see you again Sunday, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight, as always. Have a good one. Cheery, bye now.